So in response to my video, Blackjack here, would love to hear my thoughts on why Joe Biden's cessation of LNG will have a negative environmental impact. So if you don't know, in the last few days, Joe Biden has put a pause on new LNG projects in the United States. These are projects that are built strictly to export LNG to other countries. This pause is supposed to be to help the environment. Now, the truth is that Gen Z is pissed off at Joe Biden, and he knows it, and he needs to do something to appease them, especially after he approved the Willow Project. But how would pausing new LNG terminals hurt the environment? You see, Blackjack, 1 in 6 people that live on this planet don't have any access to electricity whatsoever. And a lot of these people live in poor African nations. And while currently a lot of our LNG is exported to Mexico and Europe, in the future, Africa is going to take a ton of LNG off of us because there is a huge push to get these people the energy security they need. These are poor countries. They cannot afford renewable energy. And as you may know, anytime you have a fresh market, a new market, and an emerging country, there's going to be a race to get those people the electricity. It's going to happen by coal companies, and it's going to happen by LNG companies. The electricity is going to be generated one way or the other, but since coal and LNG are the 2 cheapest forms, and those are very poor countries, they're going with one of those. So U.S. producers want to get LNG into those countries. And let's not forget that coal is twice as bad for the climate as LNG. So by pausing and ultimately probably stopping future LNG projects, that's going to limit our ability to get LNG into these countries. And that means there's an estimated 60 to 70 coal-fired plants that are going to be built already in these countries. Even with our LNG coming, that number will only increase. You see, what the United States and some other countries, the UN nations, are trying to do is basically pay countries to get on renewables. And the most recent one is the Joint Energy Transition Partnership that the United States, Japan, and some other UN nations made with the country of Indonesia. Now, this agreement has 2 goals. One is to stop the building of new coal-fired plants, and the second is to move forward the time that they phase out existing coal-fired plants, because they'll be building all this renewable energy with the $20 billion that the United States and other countries agreed to help them secure through not only our taxpayer dollars, but also guarantees on loans from numerous banks. But what they did not take into consideration in all of their genius when coming up with this, international partnership is that a lot of the political leaders in the country of Indonesia actually own the coal companies in Indonesia. And this agreement actually allows Indonesia to continue building coal-fired plants. And the people that own those plants are in the government. And Indonesia has a ton of nickel, and they want to build multiple huge industrial parks to mine this nickel for EV batteries. And you know what they want to do? They want to build new coal-fired plants to power those industrial parks that will mine nickel for EVs. Yeah. The reason they want to build coal-fired plants to do that is 1, the political class in Indonesia owns the coal companies, and 2, it is not very affordable to run all of these industrial parks with renewable energy. It cuts into their profits too much. And the Biden administration is going to try to do similar things to this in all of these African countries and other places where people don't have access to electricity. They're going to try to figure out how to pay for their renewable energy. Or a better way to put it, they'll try to figure out a way for us to pay for their renewable energy. Yeah, because they can't afford it. The problem is, even if we subsidize their renewable energy, the people in those countries still can't afford the renewable energy. You see where I'm going. And ultimately, they will rely heavily on either coal or liquefied natural gas. That is just a fact of life. That is just how it is. So if we can't get LNG to these countries, which is much cleaner than coal, then they will rely on more coal. Period. You know, people think the world is getting off coal. We used more coal in 2023 than any year in history. Also in 2022, we're using more coal now than the world ever has in history. Not every country is like the United States and can go into hock for $1 trillion to build wind turbines and solar panels. So the whole point of the LNG to those countries was to keep them off of coal because it's cleaner. So this move by the Biden administration really has nothing to do with the environment and really everything to do with the election and trying to make Gen Z happy about something. Because he is polling badly amongst them between the Willow Project and his other environmental and, record oil production and the stuff in Israel. This is where politics and energy policy intersect, and you come up with bad energy policy because you're trying to use energy policy to win an election. And whether it's good policy or not makes absolutely no difference. That is my explanation, Blackjack. Feel free to retort. Thanks.